Hello, welcome to the build guide for the Human Adept. This is one of the common starter classes, but I would say it's not one of the best ones to play when you're first starting out. You are going to want to be a high rank, you are going to want all of the points you can get to really see this class play at peak effectiveness. You're going to need the final abilities in all of your trees that you're maxing, basically. They're all going to be really important. The class itself is going to serve damage and crowd control role. You're not going to have any real like support as far as defensive abilities that you're providing to the team, but you are going to be increasing the damage that everybody deals to enemies and doing some lockdown, like preventing enemies from attacking. So let's take a look at the abilities. We're going to be using Singularity. This ability does have a long recharge, so we're going to want everything that can reduce that so we can cast it as often as possible. And remember to hit your button again to end it early if it's not serving a purpose anymore, so you can get that recharge starting quicker. In rank 4, we're not going to need duration because of what we're doing in rank 6, but the radius will be helpful just to make sure that we can catch more stuff in it when we cast it. In rank 5, the damage versus shields is pretty negligible, so that's not really important one way or the other. And recharge speed is very important, so you're going to want the recharge speed for sure. And then in rank 6, we're going to go with Exploding Singularity. This is going to make the ability do some damage, and 700 force is a pretty good amount, so it's going to send stuff flying too when it happens. But the damage is noticeable, and it's going to give some more additional functionality to our ability. The alternative, Expanding Singularity, makes it bigger. That's not going to be super important, so I'm not really going to need it. Pull, we're just going to leave at 1. It is still a useful ability, even with just 1 point, because it actually only has a 10-second recharge, and it affects anything that doesn't have armor. So that will still put enemies in the air, prevent them from attacking, and prime them for detonations. So still a good ability, but we just don't need any points in it. And then with Shockwave, this is going to do a little bit of damage, it's going to detonate stuff, and it's going to go through obstacles, which is really useful. So if you know where an enemy is behind walls or something, you can cast it and still see benefit from it. In rank 4, I would say both of these options have their merits. Take whichever one you prefer. Since I'm gearing this character more towards damage, and I'm using like the adaptive war amp and power damage boosters, I'm keeping with that theme and going with damage, but radius is also an option, so take whichever you prefer. Rank 5, taking recharge speed. The reach is useful in its own ways, but we want to be casting Biotics as often as possible because of some of our passives that we've got going, as well as, the fact that it's going to prime targets, it's going to do our rank 6. It has other uses as well, so casting it as often as possible is good. And reach, I feel like, can be made up for by the player. It has a very short range and limited radius, but both of those things with smart positioning and just awareness of about how long it's going to go and how wide it is, like, you can still position yourself accordingly to make the most use out of it. So I never really feel like either of those things are super necessary. And then in rank 6, we're going to take Lifting Shockwaves. So it's going to make enemies stay in the air after you use it, so you can use it to prevent them from doing damage to you. Without this, you could do a Shockwave and they could still just like start attacking you again afterwards. This will keep them in the air afterwards. And then they'll also be primed for detonations, which will help your teammates. And then once we get into our passives here, for rank 4 in offensive biotics, the recharge speed is going to be very useful. A little bit more damage and force is useful as well, but casting things more often is definitely the better of the two. In rank 5, exposure is going to make enemies take more damage whenever they're being affected by your biotics. Combo detonation, I really wish combos were better because I want to use this, to be honest, because I like playing combo characters in Mass Effect 3, but state of the game currently, exposure is going to be the better choice. So even like when you shoot it, when your teammates shoot it, whatever, it's going to take more damage, and it still is going to do like 20% more damage, or more damage to your combos. Just this one gives 30% and a bigger radius, so you'll get a little bit more to everything. And then rank 6, increased power damage for 3 seconds after using a power. Not actually super useful because we're not necessarily always casting another power 3 seconds afterwards, and even when we are, the only one that's really benefiting that much is Shockwave. I mean, Singularity might get a little bit more damage, but you'd have to actually know when it's about to end or end it manually within 3 seconds of using a different power to really get the benefit there. So not that great, but might as well have the points there. And then for barrier passives, the rank 4, I guess normally I would say recuperative barrier is better because of your squishy nature, but I feel like unyielding barrier, giving you more max shields, has more synergy with what we're taking in rank 6 here, where shields restore to 100% when you get to low health. I feel like if you're proccing that most of the time when you lose your shields, which in my playtime it seems like that's the case, you're getting refilled to 100% immediately anyways. So there's no point in going for this when you could make the buffer bigger with the 30% max shields. So that's my logic there. It seems to work for me. And then rank 5 Biotic Link, max shields are increased by 40% when you have an active Biotic effect on things. So not only do you do more damage when you have things affected by Singularity or Pull because of exposure, but you're also going to have increased max shields. And it seems like they add on top, because there are times when I'll go like low shields and then cast to like Pull, for instance, and I go back to higher shields. So it does seem to kind of restore as well as increase the max, and all these kind of just work really well together. So barrier drain obviously not going to be useful for this build, and shields restore on biotic kills. You're not necessarily getting that many kills with biotics, so again, that's going to be of minimal use. Again, for consumables, I think I may have mentioned this already, but the ones that I would recommend using would be like a power or a recharge amp, and then disruptor ammo. And reason being, disruptor ammo is going to strip your shields quicker from enemies, and then they'll actually be able to be affected by Shockwave and Pull and Singularity. I mean, all of your abilities actually. Yeah, I mean that's the key thing. Like, all of your abilities prime and all of your abilities crowd control. So you want to get shields off of your targets so that you can do it. It still leaves armored targets as an issue, but that's just the thing that this build isn't super strong against. So you're just going to have to rely on your regular damage for that. You could do incendiary ammo if you want to be stronger against armored targets instead of shields, but I prefer disruptor because it also stuns, and I think this stun is more useful than having a little bit more damage to shield or to armor. And then to make use of the disruptor ammo, I like the equalizer for this build. I mean, there are other weapons you could use, but whatever. I'm not going to bother talking about that. I like the equalizer, so use an equalizer. It's a really good gun. It's going to shoot fast, it's going to proc your stuns from disruptor ammo, and it's going to strip those shields really quick. Plus it's got long range, good damage, decent accuracy. Like, it's just an all-around awesome weapon. I'm running it with a barrel mod and increased clip because those are really the only decent options I've got. And then adaptive war amp to increase the damage of my biotics a little bit. Everybody talks about powers not doing much damage, but if you watch the gameplay video, you will see that you can actually get some decent damage out of them when you consider the additional functionality that they provide as well. So yeah, you can't make a build that's gonna just tear stuff up. Sorry, I'm trying to keep this PG-13 or something, but yeah, you're not gonna be the powerhouse that you were in 3, but just remember that you have a gun as well, and your powers do decent damage with this build, and they provide a lot of additional support. So it's a really good character once you get it maxed. It was a struggle when it was lower level, but once you get all the stuff in it, it does become really fun to play. So check out the gameplay video, see it in action, and give it a shot. Even though you've got rares and ultra rares and stuff, get this one to max and try it out because it's pretty fun. Thanks for watching.